Have you ever gone into a situation really excited, really optimistic, and very enthusiastic, and walked away from it confused and physically in mental pain and just not really sure how you felt about the whole situation? Because that is how I feel right now about Horizons of Spirit Island. I'm Daniel, this is Play the Game HQ, and these are my first impressions of Horizons of Spirit Island after a 2-day gameplay that took about a total of 4 hours for our first game. Now, a few qualifications here. This is first impressions. I have played one full game of this. I have never played Spirit Island. This is my first experience with the world of Spirit Island. I have no idea how it plays, how the original plays. So I wasn't familiar with the mechanics, so I came into this as a complete newcomer to this world and to this gameplay. I will do a follow-up video after we have more experience playing this game, after we've played a couple more games. And at the end of this video, once that is done, I will leave that on the end screen. So if you watch through this video and are interested in my ongoing thoughts after a couple more plays, then there will be a link to that at the end. And right now, I will pop one up here somewhere as soon as that video is posted. And the reason I say that is this is not going to be a really positive, enthusiastic video about Horizons of Spirit Island because it was not a great experience. It was clunky. It didn't feel smooth. It was not... My understanding about this game is it was supposed to be a more entry-level, easier to table, family weight version of Spirit Island. My reason for, we at first thought about, hey, let's try and get find someone that we know with a copy of Spirit Island, play that, and then play this so that we can kind of compare them. And then I decided, no, I really want to go into this without any prior notion of what Spirit Island is so that I can see if this feels like it is half of a game. That was my initial concern when we got it, was that it was going to be like they dumbed it down too much or they made it too light, and I can tell that there is more here and there is something missing from this. That wasn't the issue. This is a fully formed game. It didn't feel like a lighter version of anything. It just didn't feel smooth. It didn't feel like... I come at this from a very seasoned gamer. I was actually just talking to Allison a few days ago about how cool it is. We've played some new games recently, and it just was having that feeling of like, wow, we've really played enough games that these mechanics all just seem to flow. Like, it's really easy to pick up a new game and understand what's going on because all of the mechanics seem to carry over, and it seems really easy to flow into a game. And this was just, it felt like the entire way was just like driving down a rutted dirt road. Like, we got to the end, we played the game, we did everything, but it never felt smooth. And I have not had a game like that at least by the end of the game didn't feel like, okay, things smoothed out. The first few rounds were kind of clunky and difficult and confusing, but by the end of it, we're just cruising along and everyone knows what they're doing. Functionally, I knew what I was doing by the end of the game. I just didn't, again, it's the best way I can describe it, is it was just clunky. I do not see this as if a family goes in, this is, Horizons of Spirit Island is $30 at Target. It is a Target exclusive. Spirit Island is $80. I can't imagine a family who has very little gaming experience picking this up thinking, oh, this is, because it's advertised as kind of a family weight game, or I don't even know if that's how it's advertised, but that's how it's been perceived in the community, is family weight version of Spirit Island, lighter weight, kind of entry-level Spirit Island. I would expect with that something along the lines, difficulty-wise or complexity-wise, of Horrified or Pandemic, and it was way heavier than that, way more complex and confusing and just clunky. I know I keep using that word, but that's the best way I can describe it. So in the game, you are the spirits. You're trying to drive away the colonists, the settlers from the island who are destroying the island and messing up the resources. I do not have a full board set up here. I'm not going to go deep into the gameplay, but you are basically going to have your presence tokens that you have here that you're going to be working off of the areas that you have a presence in. You have different abilities that have different ranges. So if I'm here and I have a range of 1, I can target any of these spaces. You can do that to damage the settlers, to damage the invaders, and eventually remove their pieces from the board. You have the locals, the Dahan, which are these tokens right here that you are trying to protect. And if they ever get attacked and they survive the attack, they attack back. But throughout the game, the invaders are going to be coming into the board. You have the regular invader tokens. There are these people right here. Then you have the towns, and then you have the cities, which are these larger ones. They get stronger and stronger. They grow. If you have a town and you're supposed to build, then you build a larger city. If there are equal, or if there are more cities than towns, or if there's more towns than cities, then you build it. So they get more and more of a presence throughout the game, and you're trying to drive them out. You're going to be developing fear among the invaders so that you can drive them away. You get fear cards that will let you do things that really help you along the way and give the spirits more of an advantage against the invaders. There are fast effects that take effect at the beginning of a turn. There are slow effects that take effect at the end of the turn. At the beginning of your turn, you're going to be doing one of these 3 options, your growth, where you can bring in cards that you've discarded. You add presence, so you're going to add more tokens to the board. You can gain power, or you can gain energy. You can get more cards, and energy you're going to spend to play cards. And you're just going to be doing all these things. But we played with myself, Jared, and Allison. Jared actually had the best grasp of it by the end of the game. I think Jared and I were kind of on the same level. We tried to play through the quick start guide, which was my first beef with the game. Is the quick start guide is too quick. It was about halfway. Some places it went into a lot of detail about what you were going to do. And again, it's a quick start guide. It's one of those where it walks you through, like, here's your turn. Here's how you arrange the cards. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go and seek out this card. You're going to play this card, and here's all the steps you do to do it. It was missing the word because way too often, in my opinion. I felt like going through this, I could have gone through it and just done everything it said, but I didn't always understand why I was doing it. Like, you're going to push the Dahan over here because why? Like, why am I doing that? What effect is that going to have? It was there's 10 pages to the quick start guide. I would be fine if this were 12 or 15 pages long if it gave me detailed explanations of, like, here's what you're going to do, and here's why you're going to do that, and here's the effect that that's going to have. I would rather have that information than feel like I need to be jumping back and forth between the quick start guide and the full rule book because it's telling me to do something and I don't understand why it's doing that. So some places it explained in really great detail about what you're doing, and some places it just felt like, okay, it's telling me to do this, but I don't understand why I'm doing it. And if I'm being walked through this turn so that I understand what's going on, it should tell me why I'm doing this action or what effect this is going. I would have liked more of this card does this and this is going to have this effect or set you up for this. And again, it did that some places, and other places it just felt like that was missing. Like they try. It's 10 very full pages. It just felt like they were trying to keep it to 10 pages. Some of the places it was hard to tell which, like, I would have liked these to have a reference to what this picture was going for. Is this going to there? It was confusing. It was one of the more confusing quick start guides that I've gone through. And through the entire game, I felt myself jumping around trying to look stuff up in the rule book and not really knowing where to find it, because it has the rule book has the sequence of play and then the game concepts, and it just felt like it didn't feel smooth. None of it felt smooth. It's simultaneous gameplay, so there's no turns. You're going around and you're playing a card. You play one card at a time, but then I can play one card and Jared can play one, and then I can play another, and then Allison can play hers, and we can coordinate and figure out the best way to play. But again, I will do more plays of this, but if I didn't feel a professional obligation to give a well-rounded review of this game, I wouldn't play it. There was not a desire to play this again. I was very let down and disappointed with the experience, and it caused more anxiety than it caused fun. Another big issue I had, and I know it's a $30 game. Production level is going to be lower. It's all cardboard. I know full Spirit Island has standees. This board felt way too small. This is not, I set this up to try and replicate similar to what we had. Just pay attention to these sections here. You're adding the invaders and the towns and the cities and your presence tokens, and under here is some blight. And we were constantly dealing with stuff getting moved, because if you need to look under here and see what's under there, is that a settler, or like I can't tell what's peeking out, stuff is getting moved around. The spaces felt too small. And like it is so, like in the rules, they tell you like it's going to get worse before it gets better. There's going to be a lot of people on the board. So it felt like the board was too small and very quickly got way overcrowded. And if it was standees, that'd be easier because they're vertical and they're not falling over. But it's like, okay, I need to get this guy out of here. And now this goes and stuff. Like it really was, with a lot of the board looking like this space, we were constantly dealing with, and you can see even there, like that's over the line if we don't remember, and there's other stuff there. Like we were dealing with stuff getting moved on the board and not knowing where it was or where it was supposed to be, and then trying to just deal with the mess of tokens on the board. Stuff was getting messed up. So the board feels way too small. Not way too small. It just feels too small. It feels too small for the number of cardboard tokens that are going to be on the board, or the tokens are too big. I don't know. The tokens don't feel huge, but the tokens compared to the size of the board, especially when you have like these really skinny areas like this, it's just a lot going on in those little areas for the size and the number of tokens that are there and that you're going to be adding during the game. So I would not run out and buy this. If you're wanting a intro to the world, or you're excited about Spirit Island, if you like Spirit Island and you want a lighter version of that, this might be that. If you are looking for, I would not consider this a gateway game at all. Again, this is my personal experience, my personal opinion. I bought this copy myself. This is our personal copy. I paid for it. This is not a review copy. This is not a review. Nothing with the publisher. This is our personal copy that I drove an hour round trip to go to the Target the next town over because my Target was out. They had to go to the back to get it for me. That's how excited I was about this game. And coming away from it, it was just like, man, I don't want to play that again, but I need to, because I need to know if that was just a bad first experience or if it was if it's just a clunky game. And that's frustrating because I was really excited about this. I was really excited about the prospect of this. And I was, again, expecting a pandemic or horrified level game. That's the level of complexity that I was expecting. I played Pandemic. That was one of the first hobby games that I played. And I played that with Castle Panic was the only other game I had played. So going from that to Pandemic was like uber complex for my experience level at that time, and I was ready to play Pandemic right away after that. I should not have had the trouble that I had with this. I don't feel like I should have had the issues with this game that I had, and Allison brought up a good point. There's a bunch of playtesters listed in the back of the book. I'd be interested to know how many of those playtesters had played Spirit Island. How many of those playtesters knew the world and knew the mechanics of Spirit Island and brought that into playtesting this game, and how many playtesters were in the situation that I'm in, which is I have no knowledge of it other than I've seen the box and I've seen some pictures of it, but functionally have no idea how it plays. So yeah, I, at this point, can't recommend that you run out and grab this game. It was not a great experience. None of us had a great time playing it. We will play it again, because I feel like I have a professional obligation to give a well-rounded view of it, to see if I just had a broken first experience with it. Allison wasn't feeling great. We took our time playing it. We played it over 2 days. Our first play took roughly 4 total hours to set it up, to play through it, to understand what we were doing. It took about 4 hours over 2 days. And I don't feel like we were dawdling. We probably could have gotten it done in 3 hours if we were rushing, but constantly checking the rule book, constantly just analysis paralysis, feeling like we were doing something wrong or like it just wasn't flowing like it was supposed to. And all of that could have been on me. I could have been way too overanalyzing. Like I could have been overanalyzing what we were doing too much. Maybe if I had just trusted the card and trusted the icons, but like even the flow of the game and how things move and how things expand, I felt like I needed to double check and verify and confirm that I was doing stuff right because it just didn't feel smooth in the execution of it. So we'll see how the second game goes. Again, after we play a couple more games, I will come back and give a second opinion on it. Give a kind of, I want to be wrong in this. I want this to be a great game that I just had a poor experience with. I just don't know if that's going to be the case. And once I do know if that's the case, I will come back and let you know. But I know that this game is hitting Target shelves now. I believe if it's not already, it was in that kind of, yes, it's in the back and we can go get it for you if you ask, but it's not actually coming out until Tuesday kind of thing. So that's why I really want to, I don't want my experience to be the experience that a family has that's looking for a cool game. Also, the artwork is, I don't know why, the artwork on the cover is really bad. And it's not like the artwork inside is gorgeous. Like this is the inside artwork. It's gorgeous. The artwork on the cover looks like it's totally different. It looks like a game from the 90s. The cover art doesn't draw me in. It's nothing like the Spirit Island cover artwork that looks great and really draws you in. So I don't get that. So don't judge a book by its cover, but also I don't know if it's a great game yet. I need to play it more. I need to get a really well-rounded feel of it. But if you're rushing out to grab this game and you have no experience with Spirit Island, get a little more information, get some other reviews out there, come back and check out our second and third experience with the game and see how that kind of levels out. But I cannot at this point recommend this as a great lighter weight, like easy to the table game because that's not the experience that we had with it. So yeah, this is a difficult place to be in because I really, really wanted this to be great. And none of us had a great experience with it. And none of us could really pin down why that was, other than the game never just really felt like it was sinking into a rhythm and flowing. The board was a mess. All the stuff on the board just got overwhelmingly messy by the end of it. And yeah, it was frustrating. And I hope that it was just a really bad first experience. I'll let you know once we play it again what our full experience was. But for now, yeah, my first impressions were not great. So, and that's a unique place to be in because I can think of very few games that I have played and didn't have a desire to go back to it. Didn't think, oh, that was good. Now that I know how to play, I want to go back and play again. That was, if I didn't feel an obligation to give a fuller opinion at some point, we'd probably pack this up and sell it or do something with it. It wouldn't be hitting the table again just because of our first experience with it. So yeah, thanks for staying with me through this. We will have a full review of it after we've played more and are more comfortable with the full game. But first impressions, there you go. Hope this helps. If it gives you a little pause and you want to wait on those, we're going to play it in the next couple days. I want to get that out quick. So you'll see that in the next couple days after this comes out because this is a new game and there's a lot of hype around it. I want to have that full, well-rounded view of it. But I also feel like there's going to be a lot of people that have that same experience that I had just because of how the game felt for us. So, and I'm Daniel. This is Play the Game HQ. Check out our full review of this once it's out. There will be a link to it here, probably right below here somewhere. Until next time, thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.